Welcome back to Brave Ideas, where we chat with the leaders in commercial real estate to answer all questions, space as a service, and help office real estate reposition to meet the evolving demand from the future of work. If you're an investor, fund manager, developer, landlord, operator, property manager, agent, or broker, hit that subscribe button. And if you prefer to watch or join the newsletter, head over to braveideas.media. I'm your host, Caleb Parker, and my guest for this episode is Roy Shaby, founder and CEO of Tradestars, a workplace brand built for the next generation of entrepreneurs and social commerce businesses. Joining me as co-host for this episode, just like all season, is Eyal Lasker, CEO of FlexSpace AI, our headline sponsor this season. Roy has one of the most entrepreneurial stories of the season. He started with a sushi delivery business run out of a rented kebab shop kitchen and turned that into one of the early dark kitchen businesses in London. Then went on to co-found Tradestars, which was later acquired by Uber's Travis Kalanick's Cloud Kitchens. Today, he's applying that same entrepreneurial lens to real estate through Tradestars. In this episode, we talk about how Roy is rethinking workplace for a very different kind of customer, from TikTok sellers and beauty entrepreneurs to barbers, tattoo artists, and digital-first product businesses that no longer need a traditional retail footfall, but still need a highly functional, aesthetically strong, social media-ready base to operate from. We also get into the real estate side of the model, how Tradestars takes distressed or underused buildings and turns them into vibrant operational hubs, how Roy thinks about development costs, occupancy, churn, retention, and of course, customer acquisition, and why he believes the future of workplace will be shaped by the rise of social commerce and new forms of entrepreneurship. And we go deep on one of the most important themes this season, how to build a workplace product around the actual needs of the end user first, then reverse engineer the real estate model around that demand rather than the other way around. Before we jump into this full conversation, I want to play a quick word for our headline sponsor, FlexSpace AI. If you're a flex operator still juggling spreadsheets and manual rate sheets, stop. You don't need to be a wizard to outsmart the big guys. You just need FlexSpace AI. It's your AI-powered revenue team that never sleeps, optimizing prices, automating marketing, and filling your space while you focus on your members. No burnout, no guesswork, no what-if tabs at 2 a.m. With FlexSpace AI, your building works as smart as you do. Now head over to flexspace.ai/brave and start growing your revenue today. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this episode with Roy at Tradestars. Welcome to Brave Ideas, Roy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for hosting us at Tradestars here at Caledonian Road. Eyal, welcome back to the co-hosting gig.
Yes, it's starting to be a habit. I'm kind of liking it.
I'm kind of liking it too. You got an amazing story, Roy, which I want to dive into before we go into the practicalities. Because after touring this location, I'm impressed how you're supporting the trades. It's what I see here. You're basically co-working from my perspective, but in supporting a different customer base, and we'll dive into those principles. So who does Tradestars support?
We support the online community. So we say that we provide the offline space for the online community of founders, entrepreneurs, business owners. It's effectively anything from a TikTok media production company all the way to the beauty industry, where you have tattoo artists or hairdressers or beauticians or estheticians, anyone that has typically rented a retail front for the footfall but doesn't need it anymore. It would be businesses with a high social media activity with a low followers, and they don't rely on the footfall. So they bring all their clientele from advertising online. So I would say it's an operational space that's social media ready, aesthetically pleasing, really nice to work from, but it's also very practical for your day-to-day needs.
I've always considered myself someone who sort of leans into the future and tries to be innovative in real estate, but walking around today and seeing the TikTok social selling stars over here, it actually made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, like I'm out of my place. So this is the future of real estate. And I say real estate because while you're supporting these micro businesses, you do take a real estate lens approach to it.
That's right. And so you would find that most real estate businesses start with a spreadsheet, do an underwrite, and then they look to maximize NAA versus GA. That's like the number one rule in real estate. We reversed it. So we thought, what does the founder need? What does the business owner need? And then reverse engineer from there. How does it look like on a spreadsheet? Because at the end of the day, we're a real estate company, but this whole product was designed around the needs of the business owners rather than maximizing NA versus GAA. And then we try to make them all work. Obviously, we didn't get it right in the first take. It took us a few takes to really get it balanced between a real estate investment and a service and a product that we provide. And we're never done, right? We learn every site we open. We take our learnings and we try and improve every time. So that was the idea.
Well, it's the entrepreneurial mindset of constantly iterating and improving. And I think it's relevant to point out that all of us are entrepreneurs here and they're on this table. With FlexSpace, you're co-founder of this business, and you've been iterating in various businesses over the years. So I think having you two having a conversation together is awesome because of your backgrounds and with big names, and you have sort of an overlapping history too.
Yeah, it was fun to hear, and this share about your background, how you started, and eventually we might dive into Uber story as well.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So my journey starts when I'm about 25 years old. I had big dreams of being a business owner, an entrepreneur. This is what I wanted to do, but I didn't have the capital. I had at the time, this is 2011, I'm £3,000 to my name, and that's all I had. But I didn't give up on my dreams. Kept thinking, what can I do? And then one day I came across this website called Just Eat, which was really taking off at the time, online food delivery business. This is before Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and all the big names you're hearing about today. And I thought it was amazing that I ordered an Indian takeout from a restaurant I've never seen before. Totally virtual, the whole experience. And then food arrives at your door an hour later. I thought that was amazing. And then I thought, wait, if I just ordered from a restaurant I've never seen before, does it need to come out of a restaurant in order to service the customers? So a light bulb moment happened. I ran across the road to a Turkish kebab shop. This is in Camberwell, Southeast London. I used to eat there and I knew the owner. And I came up to him and said, I've got this idea. I can see that you have a kitchen in the back of your restaurant that is never in use. And what I want to do is I want to rent your kitchen. I will pay your rent and I will start an online sushi delivery business from that kitchen. So the guy looks at me and says, wow, what a stupid idea, but I will take your money.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We shook hands. We agreed that I will pay him the first week, but that's all I had at the time. And when business picks up, I'll continue paying on a weekly basis. So I put together a menu. By some miracle, got onboarded to Just Eat. Some other miracle, I managed to find people who will actually work for me. And the day came, we plugged in the terminal for Just Eat. Menu was online and service time was just about to start. And then literally 5 minutes pass. First ticket comes in, then the second, the third. And we ended up that day doing about 20 odd orders and turnover £500 that same day. The kebab shop owner just looked at me and the machine and was like, what the hell is this?
What's happening here?
What is this?
It sounds so obvious today, but back then.
No, he was like, oh my God, you made more money than me today, because it was a really rainy day and he didn't get a lot of footfall. And he thought, well, okay, that's interesting. So within a year, that sushi delivery business was turning over about £300,000 in revenue. And it came to a point around 2013 where I wanted to have my own space. So I rented a unit from a company called BizSpace in Camberwell, and they agreed that I would make sushi out of that unit. And also, as a side hustle, I asked them, would you mind if I sublease part of the kitchen so I can make up the overheads? And they said, no problem. Pretty straightforward what you're suggesting. We have no problem with it. Just manage it properly. I said I would. So I started trading sushi out of one kitchen, and then I created a second kitchen, which I was renting as a side hustle. And pretty quickly, I found myself in a place where I had to rent it in 8-hour shifts, intervals every 24 hours and 7 days a week. And so it was just packed 24/7. And then At the time, I remember I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I had not yet taken a salary. So, everything's pretty tight. But then I made some calculations and I figured out that if I rented my sushi kitchen full time, I could take my first salary next month. So I then gave the sushi to someone else to run it and rent from me in return. Did that. And then all of a sudden I was a dark kitchen operator.
And what year was this?
This was 2013, 14. 2014, I gave up the sushi.
Okay.
I was renting the kitchen full time. And what happened basically is that my 16-hour days went down to an hour, and I was getting really bored, and I wasn't used to not doing anything for the remainder of the day. So I thought it's time to professionalize this dark kitchen business. It's interesting. So I went to Virgin Startup with the idea, and they liked it, and they funded me with £25,000, which was my first funding round, really. And that was in 2015 when they funded me. And then I went on to co-found Foodstars, which is a professional version of the side hustle that turned into my main gig. So 2015, we opened 3 kitchens in East London, in Bethnal Green. And by 2017, we had about 45 kitchens operating in London.
Wow.
Yeah. But then,
where were you renting the spaces for the dark kitchens?
So these were mainly railway arches.
Okay.
Network Rail at the time. At some point, they were bought by the company that's operating now is called Archco, which is a joint venture between Blackstone and another operator who I think exited. But yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, at some point, I think we were their highest paying tenant in their portfolio in terms of rent that we were paying them. But
and then you got to the point where, okay, 45 kitchens, it's a big business now, and you got a call?
No, so I wanted to raise money. I never thought of selling it at that point. I just wanted to raise more money and
scale it more.
Scale it up.
Yeah.
And so, 2017 came, we had then all 45 kitchens operating, pretty much all occupied, and thinking about more money. We had a call, and what eventually happened is that we met Travis, who left Uber just before.
And just for context, I appreciate not everybody knows Travis by first name.
Okay, fair enough.
But Travis is the founder of Uber, former CEO.
Yeah, Travis Kalanick. And ended up selling the business to him as he was heading up Cloud Kitchens, and went on to work with him for another 3 years after the acquisition.
And that was called Foodstars. And then when he acquired it, did he change it? He changed it because it merged in with Cloud Kitchens, Dark Kitchens?
We didn't actually do that immediately. We kind of operated under different brands, but all under the same umbrella.
And but Foodstars was your original brand for that, and now you're Tradestars.
Yeah.
So it was sort of a continuity. Was that a romantic continuity? Or
yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I mean, the stars part is our members. They're the stars, and that's how we look at them. And it was food to begin with. Now it's trade. Anyone that's trading anything is welcome at the Tradestars site.
Well, just to bring it back full circle, the overlapping in your careers is because you also previously had a career path with Uber.
So back in 2015, I joined a startup that was acquired by Uber, which then later became Uber Freight, one of the business divisions that Uber is running until today. But I mean, I had some of probably not as deep of a relationship with Travis as you, but kind of knowing him as a founder was, he's a very inspirational guy.
Yeah, definitely. When I started working with Travis, I was pretty scrappy as an entrepreneur, and what I learned from him and the people that he brought with, because he brought really smart people with him, was the best university anyone could have. Any top business university in the world, this was way better. And I was just soaking up the knowledge and, plenty of people to look up to as well. Not just Travis, but also the other people that were working there. Pretty intelligent and smart people.
Yeah, I mean, you thought about the idea. I mean, when you really started that, was there even a term black kitchen?
No, it was dark kitchens. No, it wasn't. I'll tell you what the term started. Deliveroo at some point, I think it's just after we opened our first site, opened a kitchen site as well. So they would open kitchen sites to accommodate other food operators in the space that trade on Deliveroo and give them a kitchen. And someone coined that. I think it was, I don't know who it was, maybe the Telegraph or someone. And they coined that as a dark kitchen. The funny thing is in the US, someone else coined it as ghost kitchens. So if you're asking people in the US about dark kitchens, they'll say, oh, ghost kitchens. And if you ask someone here about ghost kitchens, say, oh, you mean dark kitchen. Anyway, international nuances.
And why do you think we don't call it ghost studios or dark studios?
So there was always a debate around if it's a nice positive thing, because when you say dark kitchen, things come up which they're not dark at all. They're very bright when you work from a kitchen. It sounds, connotation is a bit different. I think saying offline spaces to online businesses makes more sense than, like, let's say a dark store. But if you were to compare it to the term, then dark stores makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
I was in Clerkenwell. There's a dark grocery delivery. They've got this lower ground space that's the landlord's monetizing by renting it out to this company, and I forget the company's name now off the top of my head, but they've got, basically it looks like a local bodega you walk into, and it's got all the rows, and it's like a grocery store down underground, but it's just for delivery.
Yeah.
I guess it's the 15-minute or 5-minute. Do you remember the company Gorillas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting way off track here, but I think it's just so interesting. And I think that in our industry, we've got a lot of entrepreneurs, and it takes all this new thinking to come into real estate to monetize it, especially as office and the big question around distress in office. And it exists. The return to office is happening into the
traditional sense
in the big, very fancy, nice buildings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of buildings out there like this one.
Yep.
That wasn't great before you came into it.
All of our 3 sites were distressed in some way.
Mm-hmm.
The first site we took was retail under resi of a new development that was struggling by finding occupiers. This was a 1960s office building, pretty, well, not in a good shape. And the third building we took in Southwark was completely dilapidated. Like it was, it wasn't in a good shape at all.
It's not good for the community to have these buildings sitting around.
No, it's like a big elephant in the middle of the road that does nothing. What we do, we bring life into it. And here, for example, in Islington, we have 90 studios. You have hundreds of people working from here every day. So it's pretty lively. The local businesses and communities benefit from it as well, because there's more customers coming into the area, more employment, and we make it a bit brighter, a bit easier on the eye when you walk by.
And do you find that your customers that are coming in every day, do they live nearby, or are they commuting from a distance?
Depends on the location. Hackney Wick is pretty local. So most of our occupiers are local to Hackney Wick. Here, because it's right next to Caledonian Station, we get people from all around, really. And Southwark is even more central, so you get a wider population over there.
And you truly activate the neighborhood. So, we do the tour here, and it's like walking through a small town, right? You have the barber, you have the tattoo artist, you have like different small shops. So, it's really inspirational to see how you bring life into the space. And again, given that real estate is in such a distress at the moment.
Yeah.
We've been hearing that, definitely in the US, Class B and C office buildings we'll see a lot of ideas of how to improve and how to activate and how to fill them back, because everything is just empty at the moment.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's no good, right?
Yep.
An empty building, no good for anyone.
And if we bring back the real estate lens to it, in this building here, you said it was a 1960s building. You came in, it had some tenants in it that you turned.
Yeah.
And to deliver your vision here. So you came in and stripped it back and did a whole development management piece around it.
Yes, that's what we do. We bring a development hat on for every new site that we look at, and then we develop it in-house.
And just to be clear, you're not renting this building. You bought the building.
We bought the building, yeah.
Okay. So you're operating as a propco opco sort of model, or is it all?
It's all tied into, it's quite vertical. I mean, we do structure our entities in some way, but it's all coming from the same pot at the end of the day. I can say that if I go back to fundraising, so in 2021, the idea for Tradestars came about, I think reached out to over 400 investors because it's a lot of money you need for buying and developing, right? It takes a lot of money. To date, we've raised about 60 million pounds in equity and debt. And in 2022, I met Clearbell, who are a private equity house, and explained the vision. We partnered up in 2022. They bought the vision, they loved it, and we then start working together on how that's going to be played out on a return basis. How does it look like? And in 2022, they've injected 20 million pounds concept stage. That's how much they loved it. And
was that equity or equity debt tranche, was that to acquire the site and to finance the capex?
It was for both. It was just equity at the time.
Okay.
That we've raised together probably a year and a half after we took some debt, because we then had Hackney Wick, we developed it, and then we could take some debt on so we can do the other sites. And
sorry to go deep on this, but with Clearbell, are they private equity? Are they a fund manager? What's
private equity real estate?
Okay, and in typically private equity, they want like a 3 to 5 year hold period.
True.
Are you showing that here for them?
So we have various models on various scenarios, because this is not your typical real estate play where you buy and hold and then sell 5 to 7 years later with some appreciation. This is a startup by any means. It's a real estate startup, but it's still a startup. So we have various scenarios that we underwrite, and we go through it periodically. But we don't have at the moment any idea of an exit in mind. All we're thinking about at the moment is how do we expand and scale and get more buildings for Tradestars.
So then, because it's vertically aligned and not opco, they're not investing in an asset that you're going to sell and continue operating. The exit for them will come with the appreciation of their shares in Tradestars.
Effectively. I mean, if you look at it in a different lens, so this building, let's say, when we took over, they were getting, I think, 35 pounds a square foot. With the way it was set up before, we doubled it once we come in. So we doubled the rent. When you double the rent in a good market, cap rates are a bit lower. You measure your value on rent, not on how much you bought it and how much it appreciated. It's how much income you're able to generate. That is effectively the real estate play. But there's a whole nother thing on brand and uniqueness, and how we also blend a lot of technology into our day-to-day operations is very much something that we work on all the time.
In the co-working world, the model is to rent an office space month by month or with some commitment. What's your model here?
So we like to be flexible. We don't want to tie you in to very long periods. It's very much flexible. I think we would do, it depends on what deal we do with you, but typically it will be 12 months with 3 months notice, and that's it. We don't want to tie people down if they can't be tied down. We have people that want to upgrade to a bigger unit, but we also have people that, for example, lost some funding and they need to downsize. So we won't hold them to, the rent that they signed up to. We'll try and accommodate them in a smaller unit where they can pay lower rent. So we're very flexible. We work with the businesses to make sure that they're comfortable.
And would you do something less than 12 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's on a case-by-case basis, really. We apply a lot of judgment in terms of how do we look after. If someone comes to me and says, Roy, I can't do more than 3 months rolling because I'm just starting out, I'm not going to say no. But if you've traded for a few years and you're pretty set, liking the space, and we have a good deal going at the time, then, maybe 12 months are okay for you. But we'll be flexible. We'll apply judgment, common sense.
Yeah, and this is similar to, this is why I said it's like co-working, but it's not co-working. It's different customers.
Yeah.
Because your studios, you're providing them with sort of a kind of a white box that they can come in and make their own.
Yeah.
Like the TikTok stars we saw earlier. But then you're providing them with the common areas like meeting rooms and a cafe and some breakout space and the phone booths and stuff like that. So that is the serviced office model.
Yeah.
And you're offering it on a flexible 12-month basis, maybe less, maybe more, 90-day notice period. So many similarities. So I think the principles are there. It's just a different customer base and a slightly different product.
Yeah. But we say we provide workspaces for the modern day entrepreneurs. And I'll give you an example. But firstly, when you walk into Tradestars, it's pretty lively. There's music, there are cool lights, art, graffiti on the wall.
So a totally different vibe. Really
super
cool.
colorful.
Yeah.
The studios are white and black in terms of color choice, because we want to make the studio your own without our branding. We want you to apply your branding. So when you look at the TikTok shops or the tattoo artists or the barbers, you will see a different place in every studio because they make it their own. And we support them in that as well. So if they have alterations or they want to do anything, we will try and help them out and make it their own space. And effectively have, let's take the barber as a good example. My barber is a member here in Islington. They have over 100,000 followers on Instagram, and they are booked from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., 6 days a week. They're fully booked. I can't get an appointment unless I book a week in advance. And what happens with them, I keep asking them, why are you renting here? Why are you still with us? Why are you not going out there? And, why from us? And he said to me a few things. One thing he said, firstly, if I take a retail presence anywhere, I'm going to have to pay business rates. With you, I get small business rates exemption. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to have to hire front of house because someone needs to entertain my clients who are waiting in line to get seen. Here, you have someone from Tradestars at the front desk who is smiling and nice and ask you who you're here to see today, and then offer you to sit down in the coffee shop that we have, offer you coffee. And you could, as the client of that barber, literally take your laptop out, plug into our internet, do your work, whilst the barber is busy on their art making. And that takes away the operational need of the barber to be distracted with people in line. So that was a great selling point for them. And lastly, someone said to me, the moment I saw your toilets, I knew I wanted to sign up because they're nice and I can bring high profile customers.
That's a different comment.
Yeah. So even the toilets, it took us 6 months to design our toilets. We had the toilet committee before we signed off on the final design piece of the toilets.
Well, you do have Netflix stars or movie stars working around here. So, you need to have a clean toilet.
That's true. I mean, Netflix HQ is not far from here. And we get production rehearsals come into a space.
I like your description about supporting today's entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And to put some color around that, when you talk about the TikTok star, we're not, we think about social media influencers and some people roll their eyes.
Yeah.
But the reality is some of them are making, what did you say earlier? 50,000 an hour?
50K an hour in sales.
50,000 pounds an hour in sales.
And one day, I think it was Black Friday, they did 2 million a day in sales.
So this is the modern entrepreneur.
It is a modern. Yeah, that's the modern commerce. You had traditional commerce, retail commerce, you had e-commerce, now you have social commerce. So I don't know if you scroll on Instagram, sometimes an ad would pop up with a cool video, shop now, buy now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is exploding. TikTok has, I think today, I mean, maybe from a couple of months ago, I read there were 200,000 TikTok shops operating in the UK alone. So, it's pretty powerful.
Just getting into some of the practicalities for a second. When you're looking to buy the building, you've got your vision for it, you've done the underwriting. When you're looking at how to make this thing a financial success, like what are the metrics you're looking at across like occupancy, rate, revenue volume, quality of the revenue? And if you had to like choose to focus less on one, what would you?
None. And I'll tell you why and how we do it, that we don't compromise. So in the traditional sense of running a real estate company with a portfolio of offices, let's say, you're bound by market pricing, right? That will then determine your returns based on the rent that you can achieve, how quickly you can return, right? That will determine your yield on cost, how much you generate versus how much you spend. When you work Tradestars, you'll see that we have not compromised on quality of space whatsoever. In fact, we went overboard in some way. You've got fire-rated glazed steel frame doors that are really wide and people can walk into. The lighting is our design. We have a lot of USP in the building. You can even see our trademark on the cable trays. Now, how do we do it? We, instead of compromising on the product to make the model work, we then challenge the status quo of development. And so we went to overseas manufacturers and suppliers that you could, they already supply the UK. They just supply the 10th person before you start buying stuff. So we just go direct to source. We're not doing anything different in terms of materials. The same materials, we're just going to source.
Cutting out the margins.
This building cost us, it's 44,000 square feet. We stripped it back to shell and core, let's say. We did shell and core works, fit out, facade alterations, the whole thing. Basically ready made to walk in and start operating. We spent 7.2 million pounds going back to shell and core works, fit out, the whole shebang, ready to move into and operate. 7.2 million, 44,000 square feet, 163 pounds a square foot. We then went to a third-party QS because I did something. I put on my investor deck, we have a small prospectus for investors. I made a statement. We build for 30% lower than the market price, and therefore we don't compromise on product. Someone challenged me and said, show me that's true. I don't believe you. That's impossible in this climate to do that. I said, no problem. Who's your QS that you typically work with? And he said, so-and-so is my QS. Bring him in. So the guy came in, the QS came in. I gave him a tour of the building. We sat down. I explained exactly what we did here. I didn't give him any numbers. I said, okay, now go. I will pay you your fees, do a proper study, take 2 weeks, and come back with the cost assessment based on your knowledge. The guy came back with 11.4 million pounds, which is a lot more than what we built. And then when I told him how much we built it for, he nearly fell off his chair. He couldn't believe it. And then went back to the investor with a smile on his face and said, here you go, 1-to-1. Oh. That's your guy. That's not my guy. So we don't compromise on product quality, because if we did, it'd be just like any other space out there. There's no differentiator. So I would say that's our biggest differentiator in terms of product.
Okay. And so going in and going straight to the source, you're able to, is what kind of WeWork did back in the day, is they went straight to China and had everything developed there and prefabbed.
That's true. Yeah. They did, yeah. They had modular kind of items, right? That they would just ship out to different places. Yeah. So similar.
So you mentioned that you don't sacrifice the product quality and because you want to provide the best experience for your customers. How do you acquire the customers?
Good question. And that's also not traditional, because this concept doesn't really exist, at least not here in the UK. You have versions of it, probably a bit old fashioned, but what we created is new. And so customer acquisition was pretty hard, because you need to explain yourself. Well, who are you? Why do you exist? And how can you give me a better space than the guy next door? We did various things to attract customers. We have a good social media presence. We have a nice website that's got good SEO characters, and we advertise on various channels. But more than that, we've also brought in a data scientist, and that data scientist effectively takes all of the leads that are coming through. We are able to understand from the analysis which sources and industries we attract customers best from. And that is a real-time data analysis that just happens in the background. And so on a daily basis, we're able to correct course and address the right type of customer that we can attract.
And is that data scientist, is that a human, and are they using technology to help read that data? How's that working?
It's a human. It's a contact of mine. He's a guy I know. He's based in Israel, and that's his thing. He's a data scientist, and so he developed a model that's ours. It doesn't exist off the shelf. It was built from scratch, and it analyzes our CRM and our also our ads on how we display outside. So it analyzes it all the time, 24/7, and it gives us insights into what works, what doesn't work, basically.
Then it goes back to the to the content, to the SEO, to the ads, to then optimize.
Exactly.
And so when he's looking at the web traffic and to optimizing that to generate the leads to then or bookings, what is he looking at to enrich that process?
That is the secret sauce. And we're going
So we all want to know.
to keep it secret unless you want to put some money in and invest in our venture. Then I'll tell you about the secret
Well
sauce.
played. Well played. Look, I think it's good. And the other thing that I noticed walking around and hearing your story is that all of the customers have something in common, and they're all kind of aligned with the values and the mission that you're delivering here. And I think that's what helps also attract these customers beyond having a nice website. You know your customer.
Yeah.
What do you do for the customers on a weekly or monthly basis to not just support them in their office, but to create the sense of community?
It's something that we're working on at the moment to enrich the community aspect. So we started hosting events on a regular basis. It could be just a random, it's a coffee morning, coffee's on us, drinks on us on a Thursday evening. And we also do events. So our latest collaboration is with Simon Squibb, and we're actually hosting an event for his accelerator this Thursday, this Friday, which I hope you guys will come.
Awesome.
And we also invite our members to come through. So the DJ, music, pizzas, drinks, everything's kind of provided for. All you have to do is show up. We would see sometimes that members are engaging with each other and then collaborating.
Yep.
So,
That's it. That's
I can
the magic.
totally see the tattoo artist, approaching the TikTok influencer or, vice versa, right?
absolutely.
That's where the magic happens. And I think that's what creates the stickiness, and customers don't want to leave because it is like Eyal said earlier, it's like a mini city here, or a village even.
That's when I felt like we're doing something right, is when people told me about their business and that Tradestars is very much part of their business and not just the place of business. That's when it really kind of stuck in my head. Okay, we have something nice going.
So we talk about, obviously, the customers here created a sense of community. And earlier we talked about it having this activity here in your building also supports the local community and the businesses around. Is the space here, are the studios, the meeting rooms, the podcast studios, are they also available beyond your member base?
Yes, it could be that you're a client of our member base and it's completely open for you to have clients over, investors, or whoever you want from the, let's call it, outside world that is not a member of Tradestars. So it's very open and feels welcoming as well. But we also have members of the public that come through and, for example, have a coffee from our coffee offering or some food. And you'll see people from other buildings that come through, like the Netflix HQ, for example, which is down the road. They come regularly and have coffee or food in our space.
And do you view that revenue, call it ancillary revenue coming in from the local community, do you view that as something on your P&L that you really want to look at the metrics and drive? Or do you view that more as an amenity for your members, and anything else that comes in is just a little bit gravy?
At the moment, the focus is only on the members, but we do have in our vision where we could perhaps create a marketplace, whether it's physical services or online goods that we can help sell. So one aspect of our business in the amenity space is the logistics area where goods come in and go out. We could enhance on that and help them market maybe with the marketplace where they can list their goods or services as well for people to come through. So there is a vision there. We're not there yet in terms of executing on it, but it's in the back of our mind.
What are the KPIs that you're obsessing about? Like the one or two metrics that you are daily or weekly are really monitoring closely?
So two things is, like I said, we have a data scientist that helps us with numbers. We analyze also when people leave and why do they leave. Was it service? Was it financial issue? Was it something that we can help with? In fact, and we obsess about it. I do an exit interview with almost everyone that leaves, and I just ask them, why are you leaving? What's wrong? How can I help you? Sadly, we hear a lot of businesses that leave because of financial troubles. They just can't afford it anymore. So I desperately try and find them a space where they can occupy without having to face those difficulties.
I think it's the nature of this business. You've got sort of three reasons people leave. One, they can't afford it anymore. Their business goes out of business, or life changes. They grow and they outgrow you. And then the worst case scenario is they find a better option. And that's what you obviously don't want. And so if you are doing these exit interviews and you're seeing it's, if you're seeing it's the bottom, the first one or two and not the third one, then, it's just, it's not a whole lot you can do but try to help them. But what I always looked at is when they outgrew my space, we've succeeded. We've supported them through this vital period of their business, and now they become alumni and they go on to do big and great things.
That's a very nice way to put it. We have try and support them in their growth as well. So the TikTok production company you just saw had 1 unit with us a year ago. They have 5 today. So we try and support them through their growth. But of course, at some point, we also get inquiries of people that wanting to rent a whole floor. And we're not able to always do that because we've got many studios, right? Yeah, I hope every company gets to that stage where they can rent an entire floor, and we will try and accommodate them at some point.
But also it becomes more risky for you if you do, because by having so many studios, if you have a little bit of a churn, you've got a diverse customer base, no big deal. If you have a whole floor leaves, that's a big hit.
Yeah, that's true. That's, yeah.
Do you have any occupancy goals or churn rate that you're trying to hit?
Yes. So as of recently, we're 84% occupied across the portfolio on a unit basis. And what I want us to do is stabilize around 90%, I would say. So we're just a bit away from that. And in terms of churn, we try and maintain under 5% a quarter in terms of churn. Our previous quarter was just under 1%.
Wow, good.
Churn-wise. And in most cases, we've relet within, let's say, 24 hours to a week, the units that have vacated.
And I always think about how can we drive more revenue onto the top line of the P&L. And so when you're looking at your customers getting the studios, I know you have the cafe downstairs, they can get coffees. Are there other ways that you're monetizing your existing member base?
So we thought about a new product that we're introducing this Friday, which would be Tradestars membership. So for £199 a month, you can have a membership and you can then access all the amenity spaces. And we also give you credits to use this room, for example, the podcast studio, meeting rooms, photography sessions, and stuff like that. So it's really designed for maybe small business or solopreneurs that just want a base to work from, and we'll work to provide that.
And these are people who aren't taking a studio. These are additional. Right. Okay, got it.
That's before they need a studio.
Okay, so you're getting them earlier, filling top of funnel.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Fair enough.
I wonder, and this is maybe a crazy idea, we should cut this out, but I wonder if as you build up your base that you've got now, you've got 3 sites now.
Yes.
Presumably you're going to go to more, but I wonder if there's a micro solution, Tradestars solution, because the social selling, as you say, is big, 200,000 businesses around the UK or something like that, you said?
On TikTok.
On TikTok. Yeah. Oh, wow. I wonder if you could take one of these studios and put it in a modular format and put it like you did with the dark kitchens in, under monetized areas, or former retail units that's suffering, distressed retail units. And then it's like a street frontage. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like a shared retail space amongst businesses.
Using former retail space, but having a shared studio that could be hired by the day by a TikTok. Right. Actually, it's the appear here model.
Yes.
The appear here on the subway, on the tube. They've got, they would turn these in for like a week. So I wonder if you could do that, but for the social selling.
So we thought of a version of that, not exactly in that form, but we have sessions every day, the team and I, on what can we do more. One of the ideas that came up is, can we set up a studio that is just a day hire studio, whether it's an event or an activity or whatever they need, right? And so we said, let's start with the Tradestars membership and learn what is it that people really need and focus on the top 3 at first, and then work our way from there and see how that works. So it's in our roadmap, effectively, a version of what you just proposed.
Very sensible.
Sounds like a pop-up studio.
Yeah.
Kind of,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got legs. I mean, there's a lot of logistics to it. And then you obviously have to have the e-commerce aspects of that to get people booking it. But I think that's a interesting path to go. But this has been great. We've covered a lot of ground. I love unpicking these new models. What's on the horizon? You've got the 3 sites now. Maybe you have a network of micro studios, pop-up style. How many more Tradestars sites like this are we going to have?
In the near term, I would say getting from 0 to 3 was hard as expected. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be hard. I would say the equivalent of 0 to 3 in terms of toughness level should be 3 to 10. So I think in the near term is to try and get to that 10 site mark is where we want to get to in the near term. We had been approached by potential investors, both institutions and family offices, but we were holding them back because what I want us to first do is get this right as much as we can so it's ready for scale. I can say that we're very close to that point.
How big can it scale? Can you be in every single capital city? Is there a 50 site top out number?
If we could cater to 1% of the number of businesses in those sectors, we could fill up over 30 Tradestar sites, really. And that's as of today. Who knows in 2 or 3 years' time.
Is that 30 in different cities or is that across London?
That would be London plus other cities as well. I think up to 10 will focus on London, and then 10 and above will start looking into other locations as well.
Okay. Well, big plans on the horizon. If I can help out in any way, let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for hosting. Thanks to Charlotte for hooking us up on the tech today. And it's good to meet Jake. Give him a shout out as well. Can't forget Kiki.
Of course.
Taking care of us in the morning. Eyal, any final words?
This is very inspiring. It was great to walk around the space and see how much creativity you guys host here, and I wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure talking to you today.
Well, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care of yourself.